Hello and welcome to Around the Ice on Fantasy and Frame. Sorry for the late start, having a little bit of technical difficulties here, getting it going with some poor internet. Hopefully, we'll be all right during the show. So stick with us. If we do have a couple issues, we will keep it flowing. Aaron out, but Toes back in action. We are talking left wings, going through our series here, breaking down fantasy hockey, where we're taking players, about what rounds, where guys are ranked, kind of where we have them. So we already talked about defensemen. We talked about centers last week. Go ahead and go back on Fantasy Frames Around the Ice. Look those up. Check us out, if you will. Please leave a comment, nice one, hopefully, and give us a thumbs up. Toast, how you doing? Good to have you back.
Yeah. Thanks, JT. Good to be back. It's a good combination between me, you, and Aaron to keep this show going. Really enjoying it. So on top of actually doing this, I would say this position series we're actually doing, we're also going to be doing a mock draft series. We've already had one. And as soon as we finish all two positions, we're going to have another. And also, find us at FIF Hockey. And really, we're trying to promote our home league. We want to actually do a listeners league. So we'd love to get a 10 to 12 team league on Fantrax. Do basic scoring. Maybe do like maybe 12 starters. Another 5 or 6 bench players. Maybe have 16, 17 rounds somewhere around there. It'll be a head-to-head, a scoring league. And where we have left wing, centers, right wings, defensemen, utility, a goalie or two, and can't wait to do it. So definitely check us out there if you have interest. We'd love to have a listeners league and get that started well before season starts here. I believe puck drop is October 7th, man, and I cannot wait.
Man, it's going to get here sooner than we realize. Week 0 for college football last week. Week 1 coming up this week. NFL is just a couple weeks out, and then we're deep into hockey season right after that. So, yeah, if you want to hit us up on FIF Hockey, or you can hit me up at JT Orange or Toast at Toast Clark. Hit us up if you want to enter the league, want to get on. If you got questions about it, it's going to be a free league. Just reach out to us. I'd be happy to answer any questions too. If you've never tried fantasy hockey, this is a great opportunity to jump in, get your feet wet, and just see what it's all about. I can guarantee you're going to like it. It's super fun. Fantasy hockey is great for anyone who hasn't played it before. So this is the time. Get in and try it out. Toast, tonight we are going to be talking. Boom. Let's talk left wings. Let's get into our left wings action. What we like, who we like. Jump in there. Let's go with our tier 1. This is our top guys. These are guys you're going to want to take early in drafts. Talk us through whether these guys are any different for you depending on the league you're in. As if it's a categories league, a points league, head to head, or these guys, no matter what, redraft everything, you are on these guys early and often.
Yeah, so JT, let's talk about the position first, and we'll jump into tiers. That's a great segue. So in years past, it's always been, hey, centers are always deep, which is still the case right now. We got a lot of centers. It goes a deep position. They're the guys that actually touch the puck the most. So they're easier to come by. A lot of times you may decide, hey, there's a top 2 tiers of defensemen. We actually had our defenseman show there, and if I can't get some of those guys, then I'm really maybe going to wait and fade defenseman a little bit. Same thing with goaltenders, right? We like, hey, our philosophy is all right. You got Connor Hellebuck, and you have maybe 2 other guys, 3 other guys, and after that, it's just it's a luck at that point. It's a luck of the draw. So you made fade goaltenders as well. So in knowing that, depending on where you're drafting, let's say you're drafting somewhere in the neighborhood of like 3rd or 4th on, you don't have those top 2 picks, you really got to consider actually getting a left wing. Left wing used to be a position where it was abundant. There used to be a ton of left wing talent, and right wing was the position where like, wow, you better get yourself a right wing because it just doesn't go too deep. Now I would say that wings in general, tend to kind of dry up there maybe after the 6th round, 7th round. Then you're like, woo, it's starting to look kind of a little iffy. So there's that big drop off. So that's why we want to do this tonight. We want to give you guys some tiers, something to think about. You take that back as you're preparing for your own drafts, and figure out specifically if you can tier these guys, which I actually would. I would tier each position and then kind of see specifically who has what value where, depending on where you're picking. So, JT, do you have a similar philosophy as it comes to left wings versus your centers?
Yeah, I think so. I think you got to look at, it's always important to look at the scarcity, where those guys at. Honestly, anytime you're in a league where you're going right wing, left wing, center eligible, you have to really think about. If you're playing in a league that's just straight forwards, all those guys, I don't really look at it at all, to be honest with you. If I'm in a league where it doesn't matter, I just pick the best guy available. But definitely in leagues where you have to play guys in a certain spot, it does make a difference. Sometimes it is hard to take that guy that maybe you think.
Yeah, we may have lost JT there for a second. I know he has having some technical difficulties. So I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about that and give him a chance to actually get back on here. But definitely, you got to be thinking if you're in that first and second position of your drafts, you're likely taking McDavid, you're taking McKinnon, you're getting no centers. But after that, man, I mean, you really got to start thinking about wings right away. You may have McCarr in there as a defenseman, and he's definitely taken up a first round slot. Even Connor Hellebuck, I've actually seen taken in the first round as a goalie. But really, then it should be dominated there from there on out in that first round. Whether you're going 10 picks or 12 picks, it should be dominated by wingers after that, for the most part, anyway. That's where we're seeing a lot of these guys go. So just to start, let's go ahead and introduce our tier 1 left wingers, and there's 3 of them. And so, and really, I think there's it depends on the format we actually have, but it's Leon Draisaitl for Edmonton Oilers. Draisaitl does it year in and year out, man. He's got great teammate in Connor McDavid, and he's got really, really good help there with Zach Hyman. And they've also got Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Evan Bouchard. They just got a great surrounding cast for Leon Draisaitl. And the great thing about Draisaitl is he's not only a left wing, but he's also a center. So he's dual eligible. So it can make him really, really valuable. So as you're getting to these drafts where you are really thinking about, I want to take a right wing, do I have left wing or center? Boy, if you can actually land that dual eligible player or even tri-eligible players, a couple of those out there as well. I mean, that is the best way to actually build your fantasy roster. Not saying you should pass on the guy that's just straight left wing, but also let that influence your tiers a little bit. Okay. So, but you got Leon Draisaitl, you got Brady Tkachuk, also at tier 1. This may be a controversial pick. He's a left wing only from Ottawa Senators. But the good thing about Brady is the fact that most leagues count hits. All right. So whether it's 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, or even our Bangers league, it's a 0.5. If you actually have a league that actually counts hits, then you're going to have shots on goals. He'll get 300 of them. Hits, he'll get 300 of them. Goals, he'll probably have 35 of them as well. Assists, probably another 30 for 65 points right there. And if you're even lucky enough to actually count pins, which most leagues don't, he's going to get you about 120 of those as well. So the good thing about tier 1 Brady Tkachuk is the fact that he's getting better and better. Ottawa's getting better. This is an up-and-coming team, and Brady Tkachuk's the leader of that team. He's actually been there through the bad, right? So now he's actually ready to win. But that's why you find Brady Tkachuk in the tier 1 there alongside of Leon Draisaitl, not because he can actually put the biscuit in the basket like 50, 55 times like Draisaitl does a year, but because he can do every single thing on the stat sheet and actually put him up at a really, really high number across the board, which makes him unbelievably valuable and unique. Pretty rare of a player there. So Brady Tkachuk's got to be a tier 1 player. Also, Kirill Kaprizov. Interesting with Kaprizov coming into his contract season this year. So that the whole buzz is going to be, can Kaprizov actually is going to be dealt at the trade deadline? What's he going to end up doing? Is he going to sign? Boy, I'd love to see him in a Blackhawk sweater. They got plenty of cap space, and a guy like Kaprizov to actually come in, that would be amazing. Kaprizov, can he stay healthy? Right? That is the key for Kaprizov, health all the way around. But if he's a healthy player and he can actually play close to all 82, let's say he plays 80 games, you got to pencil in Kaprizov for, I'm going to say right now off the top of my head, 48 goals, 56 assists, and you're probably looking at a player for 110 to 112 points and just pencil him in. That's where he's going to be if health is actually not a factor. He got to play with guys like Matt Boldy, a veteran like Matt Zuccarello is still there as well. Joel Eriksson Ek, we actually went over him and the centers last week. And man, and Minnesota's really, really coming on with their good young goaltending and Gustafsson. And I just feel like they're a team that's on the rise, and they're a playoff team already, right? But they're a team that's ready to take the next step. But I would like them to actually take the next step in the event that Kaprizov signs that deal soon and actually does not become a UFA. If he becomes a UFA, you wonder what that locker room is going to be like, JT. I mean, it's you want your star to actually sign there, and especially in a state, in a town that actually supports a team like Minnesota. They got a great hockey tradition up there.
Yeah, that'd be tough if they lose a guy like that. You know, you're finally building something, and you're finally starting to get something going in the right direction, and something like that happens. That's always rough.
Yeah. So so that counts our tier one, but we see these guys going in round one. I mean, you're going to see Draisaitl go anywhere from 3rd overall to 5th overall, somewhere around there. He's been penciled in there, no matter the format. You got a guy that can score, 115 points a season and put up 55 goals and play alongside McDavid, like we said. It's just a no-brainer, and that dual eligibility is key. You're seeing Brady Tkachuk probably go somewhere in the later the first round, somewhere around 10, 11, 12. In certain formats like bangers, it's going to be more like 6th or 7th overall and maybe even 5th overall. And Kaprizov's been that guy where he's anywhere from 5 to 8. So these are all first rounders, no doubt. Doesn't matter the format. These guys are first round. That's why they're in tier one.
Yeah, I agree with you. You got to get these guys. Obviously, Brady Tkachuk, like you said, and you were talking about in a bangers league, man, he is just gold. You got to love him. I know you got him in our home league. You had him forever in our home league. He's just a guy that comes out. Both the Tkachuk brothers, and what we're talking about, those are guys in a bangers league because they go out there and they're just bringing the heat every night. But they also can score, and it's rare you get both those things from guys. The guys are constantly going to be getting you hits and blocks plus scoring. So he's always a guy. Draisaitl early. If I'm not picking Draisaitl, Tkachuk is definitely a guy I've always got my eye on, especially in a bangers league.
Yeah, a very safe pick, right, JT? Because again, he could do everything. So any format, he's durable. As much as he throws his body around like he does, he's a durable player. So he's very reliable. And again, that's why he's in tier one.
Yeah, let's jump into tier two here. We got 4 guys. This is probably you're looking at your late first round, early second round, depending on format, kind of where guys are. Obviously, if you need some of these left wingers, these guys might jump up a little bit on your list. Let's jump into tier 2, Toast.
Yeah, I got Jack Hughes up there in tier 2, and really, we talk about health, man. If we can get this guy to quit going and sliding into the boards, I don't know how many times in his career that's actually happened, but way too many, and that's actually cost him several games over the past few seasons. But when he is actually on ice, and I would say some of these are freak accidents, again, Hughes is a guy you're going to go ahead and pencil in for 42, 43 goals. He's going to get you another 65 assists, maybe 70 assists, and you're looking at the 110-point player there. Again, another dual eligible player, center, left wing as well. Plus, he plays more center. I mean, he doesn't play the wing that often, but the fact that he's actually eligible at left wing, I mean, that just makes it even the better. New Jersey, they are stacked. They got so much offensive talent on that team. You got to love his line mates. I mean, he's got so many good players to actually play with. And really, if you look at a dynasty league as well, more of a reason to actually have him there in tier 2, right? Because he's so young. He's still only 24 years old. Jack Hughes has got his best hockey ahead of him. JT, also making tier 2 here, your guy, Kyle Connor from Winnipeg. Why do you like Connor, man?
I've had Connor a lot of years, and before we switched to a dynasty league, when we just had a keeper league for our home league, when we got started going off, I kept Connor. I mean, what was it, 4 or 5 years in a row? I got him so late, and then he kept just moving up 2 rounds. I got late, early in his career. A guy just scores goals. He's phenomenal. I still love to have him on any league. I'm a big Jack Hughes guy too. Like I said, like you said, that left wing eligible, even though he mostly plays center, if he can stay healthy, I love it. Jack Hughes is one of my guys. We were in a league a couple years ago. We're no longer in, but we jumped up early and got Jack Hughes after he kind of had that disappointing rookie year. He kind of fell in one of our drafts, and we in a pretty good spot. And I was like, we were talking about it. I'm like, man, if he was the number 1 pick this year and he hadn't played yet, he would be going like top 15 in this league. And people were kind of down on him because he had not a great first year. But we forget about this stuff, man. Some of these guys, 18, 19-year-olds, playing with the pros, men, sometimes it takes a minute for these guys to get it together. So he's a guy I still love. I'm totally Jack Hughes. Like you said, you nailed it, the health. Health is the biggest issue with him because I think this Jersey team is good. Terrible goaltending the last is absolutely, but for fantasy, it's great because they got to keep scoring. So it's like you want of guys from New Jersey because they got to keep putting points on because their goaltending has been so bad. But I love Hughes. Kyle Connor, man, what a year for Winnipeg last year. For some reason, I feel like sometimes he's the guy people kind of forget about a little bit. I don't know why. And I don't know if it's because he plays for Winnipeg, but it's like sometimes you look at the stats and you're like, man, why is he dropping? We're dropping in drafts sometimes. I always feel like I can get him at a pretty good value, but I love Connor.
Yeah, Connor's a guy, again, last year of his deal as well. It's, got Kaprizov, got Kyle Connor, you got Connor McDavid as well. This 2026 UFA draft, you just hope they could all make it to UFA. I just don't think they will. I think their teams are going to re-sign them, and a lot of these as well. You wonder with Kyle Connor, the reason I like him in tier 2, already like him in tier 2, I may even like him a little bit better. This is a double-edged sword. But you lose Nikolai Ehlers, and that kills Ehlers' fantasy value going over to Carolina. And Carolina's a great team, but Carolina's a grinding team, So Ehlers going over there. So you're like, man, how much is that going to impact a guy like Kyle Connor? So we got to say it right now. Gabe Blardy actually comes up and signs a big contract there. I think they sign him for over $7 million a season. And you got Cole Perfetti as well. We need those guys to actually have good seasons. That way Kyle Connor will actually have a good season as well, because we know he's going to play with Scheifele. But, you've got to have some other young wing actually step up. And you're going to be in every single game, right, with Hellebuck. He's going to start 65 times a season, and he's just going to be rock solid between the pipes there. A lot of close games. You would actually hope there's going to be a lot of empty nets there as well. So, but I think Kyle Connor definitely belongs in this second tier. We also there's 2 more players in the second tier, and JT Philip Forsberg, and also Jake Gensel. And Forsberg is kind of a product of like Brady Tkachuk. He does a little bit of everything, and he shoots the puck a ton, man. Don't be surprised if he puts the puck on net 350 times this season. He'll get you about 125, 130, 135 hits as well. He's going to score you 45 goals. I mean, how bad was Nashville's season last season? And he still had a great season. He's got to be even better
that's what I was
There's no way they could be that bad.
I was going to agree, Toast. Like, in a redraft league too, he's a guy that might slip through the cracks a little bit because it was so bad. Teams trying to kind of forget about some of these guys that are on bad teams. They want to take the guys on all the good teams, and they forget what kind of numbers he can put up fantasy wise. So I think you're right. He is one of those guys that people kind of forget about. I think he's sneaky good but he's also that team. So he's definitely a guy I would have on my list, because if you could grab him late round 2, if he slips in round 2 or even round 3, way too late for him, that would be a steal. At least to me, it would be.
Oh, definitely right now. And I would say right now, if I had to guess anyway, I don't have the stats in front of me, He's probably got an ADP somewhere around 12, somewhere around there, 12, 13 overall. So if you can get him at 18, 19, 20, like somewhere at the late second, the turn of the third, it's a steal, right? But odds are he's probably going to go somewhere mid-second round. And that's about where he actually should go. And in certain formats, like a banger format, man, he'll be sneaky. He'll go like 10th. He'll go 11th, somewhere around there, and he won't drop to 16th, 17th, 18th. JT, I'm going to throw out a little bit of stats here for you regarding Forsberg. Even in a down year last year, and I don't know if that was all Forsberg, right? That was more so just a product of the team. He was a minus 27 last year. That's ridiculous. I mean, a player that good, it's usually actually on a fairly solid team, whatever, a minus 27. That's the worst plus minus of his career, and it's not even close. He had never been in double digits of plus minus and minus 27. That tells you what type of dumpster fire it was in Nashville last year. And the guy still comes out with 76 points in 82 games, 281 shots on goal, 151 hits. So even in that bad year as a team, he's still pulling down mad points. Philip Forsberg, man, love this guy. 31 years old. I guarantee he's a guy that can still go another 5 years at a high production. So jump on him, man. If you can get him in the middle of the second round to the end of the second round, you're winning.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, he's a guy. If people are worried about the age, especially in a dynasty, if you're in a startup dynasty, they're worried about his age. Man, he could be an absolute steal while everybody's going after the super young guys. Man, Forsberg, he's going to give you some good years still left. And here's another guy. I think, every once in a while we talk about some of these guys go to new teams and we're like, oh, this is terrible fantasy for this guy. I use the upgrade for Jay Gensel. I like Gensel in Tampa Bay. Really opens him up fantasy wise. I'm pumped about his fantasy value this year. I think he's going to be phenomenal this year in Tampa.
Yeah, signed that big contract last year. So he's basically in the second year of a $9 million a year contract for 7 years. So he's got 6 more years of that. He could not have landed in a better position. Man, the line mate. So he's on the left, Braden Point's in the center, and Nikita Kucherov's on the right. That's got to be a top 3 line in NHL and arguably the top line in NHL. And he gets to actually play on that line. And what's he do last year in his first season, man? 41 goals, 39 assists for 80 points in 80 games, 217 shots on goal. He won't get you much of hits or blocks. So if you're in straight scoring leagues, man, he's awesome, right? I mean, so he won't get you any PIMs. He doesn't know what, but game-winning goals, 5. If it's power play points, you're going to be golden. Tampa Bay's always been good on the power play. He had close to 30 of them last year, and that was an all-time high for him, and it's actually not close. But again, that's his first year in Tampa Bay after being a long-time Pittsburgh Penguin, and he actually had that short stint over at Carolina, man. Carolina, like, they have Gensel going over there for a short stint. Then they end up actually having Rant and then go there for a short stint. I mean, what the hell is going on over there, where players aren't too happy. They don't want to stay, but yet the team's always so good. But Gensel, the reason why he makes it in this tier is because of product of his line mates and the situation he's in and what he did this first year with it. And that is the main reason. He's 30 years old, a big-time contract, but it's because of his situation he's in. I don't think he is as talented as all the other players we've actually mentioned as far as, like, all they can actually do, but he finds himself in this tier 2 based on where he's at.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Carolina is like, it's just again a good team in real life, but a team you just don't love for fantasy purposes because they just don't put up a lot of points. Against all in Tampa Bay, man, that first line for Tampa Bay, like you said, whoo, man, they're loaded. Let's jump into tier 3. We got one man and one man alone. It's like it's perfect to have one guy by himself. If anyone's going to be in a tier by himself, it feels like this should be the guy.
Yeah, so, Ovechkin. So, I mean, he gets the goal record last year. He honestly, he probably belongs in tier 2. Let's just say it. But the only reason he's in tier 3 is because you just don't know when the wheels are going to fall off a little bit. He can't play both ways anymore. And he can't play at the end of games anymore as well, unless they basically sneak him on the ice to actually get an empty netter, because he can't skate hardly anymore. So he's just basically getting there where he can just hang out on that left-hand dot and just one time the crap out of the puck. And you didn't really think it was going to be good for Washington last year, but man, Washington surprised us, and they just had an amazing season. And were the best team in the league during the regular season. I don't see Washington doing that again. But here, don't bet on Ovechkin, right? So, JT, remember last year, the over-under for his goals was 42.5, and he needed 43 to break the record or whatever. And like, we did our betting show, which we're going to do here in a couple of weeks. We'll do that sometime in September. And I'm like, that was a futures bet. It was at plus 1,000. And I'm like, that's the bet of the century there. You got to get on that. And here a guy goes, he still misses 17 games with a broken leg, a high ankle sprain, really, but broken leg. And he still gets it. I think he ends up with somewhere like, 47, 48 goals, somewhere around there. And I'm like, so if this guy can stay healthy all year, we shouldn't bet against him. I'm sorry. Is he 41 now? We should not bet against the guy. He'll probably do it again. And he'll hit you a ton of hits. JT, I want to look. You talk about how many goals, your prediction. Hey, what do you think the over-under is going to be for him this year? And do you actually think he'll be on the over? Because I want to, before you do that, I want to tell everybody 110 hits last year, 162 the year before, 188 before that, 155 before that, 18-19, 223. Shoots a puck a ton. This guy can bang. It's great. So what do you think about Ovi?
It's like you don't want to go against him. He's an absolute freaking beast, right? I mean, he keeps coming through. We jumped on that bet. We're like, hey, why not take it? We thought we were totally done for when he got hurt, and then he just kept smoking. And here's the thing. People forget now, when you get a team like Washington and they're up and playing from behind, it's a totally different ballgame, because all of a sudden they're like got chances for extra goals. And man, he got I don't know what it was of empty netters last year, but it felt like a lot, didn't it? I don't know. I got to look at that number, but it felt like he had quite a few empty netters last year. And I don't know because he was just chasing the record or what, but hey, it all counts the same, right? Unless you're in a league that counts it differently, counts the same for us in our league. So I'll take those empty netters all day long.
Oh, he had a million of them last year. It was great, but you're right. They all count the same, and I expect more of the same this year. I do. So I'm guessing that they're going to come out with that over-under on the goal total, 39.5. All right. So basically, because last year I think it was 42.5. He's a 1 year older, 39.5. And let's say that opens up at that money, 39.5, probably going to be somewhere, it's going to be even money, right? It's going to be plus 110, whatever it may be. But the real key will be is, can he get to 50 goals? And I guarantee 50 goals is going to be like plus 1,500. It's going to be a really high number. And that's the bet I actually put in. So because I wouldn't doubt it. If he's not hurt, he ends up playing close to 80 games. He's probably going to get 50.
Yeah, my computer is extremely slow. I'm trying to look up if it's up yet. I have not seen it yet. If I do find it, Toast, I will bring it up and let everybody know what it is, the total. I'm not 100% sure it's posted yet, but I am trying to find it. My computer's working extremely slow at the moment. So, Toast, we do have a real quick question here. It's a football question. I'll answer it in the comments because it's a football question. Go, Toast, why don't you jump into our next tier here?
Yeah. So let's jump into tier 4. And before I go into tier 4, I want to say, when we talk about tier 4, we got 3 skaters, tier 5, another 3, another 6 in tier 6. There's argument for interchanging here. All right. So this comes down to Toast and JT's personal preference on what we like these guys, many different factors, right? But whether it's bangers, whether it's straight scoring, whether it's categories, whether it's dynasty, whether it's head-to-head, I like all these guys in these tiers that can fit into any situation. So tier 4, you got 3 guys. You have Cole Caulfield and the up-and-coming Montreal, Matthew Nyes, and for Toronto, and then Artemi Panarin that rounds out this tier. And let me talk about Cole Caulfield right now in Montreal, man. They are doing something very special in Montreal right now. Caulfield has a lot of guys to actually play with. Nick Suzuki is very underrated as a center. He's a guy I'd be targeting in a whole lot of drafts. He's not going to bang the crap out of it, people, but a whole lot of centers actually don't do that. But Suzuki's a guy that slips in drafts. You can get him like around the 5th or 6th round, and his line mates are just going to be stupid good. You got Caulfield. You actually have Patrick Laine as well. You got Hudson on the back end there as well. And then they made the big trade. They made a big trade for the defenseman actually comes over from the Islanders, Noah Dobson. I mean, and then Sam Montembeault is actually really improved as a goaltender. Montreal is actually ready to take off in a big way, and that's such a big hockey town, probably the best hockey town in all of hockey. I mean, the entire NHL. I mean, Montreal, the Bell Center, they go crazy there. But Caulfield's only 23 or 24 years old. He had over 40 goals last year. I think he's going to do it again. He's only going to get better, and he definitely belongs in tier 4 here because based on his age, the fact of how much he shoots, how much he actually scores, and again, the cast around him is really good. It's very similar, JT, about Matthew Knies with Toronto, right? They're in a very similar situations.
Toast, I cannot find the over-under for Ovechkin goals yet. I don't know if it's posted. On NHLTradeRumors.com, though, they have him projected for this season, 38 goals, 27 assists for 65 points. So I would assume his over-under goals is going to be right around that 40 range is what is going to end up coming out on the books.
Yep. If you can get him at 45 goals plus and get that like at plus 600 or 700, I'd hammer that. Just hammer it. Because here's the deal. It's either going to crash and burn, and Ovechkin's going to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 20-some goals, and it's going to be an injury-riddled season, or he's going to put up 50. That's just what's going to happen, man. Because he just smells it. He knows how to score. Obviously, he's the best goal scorer to ever lived. So if they come out and that's, I guess, 39.5, that's a no-brainer for me. I'm hammering the over. And that's free money in the event that there's no injury.
Yeah, I like that too. I know we talked about it last year. I was big on taking that over. We're like, why not take the chance? The guy just keeps performing. It's like we talked a little bit last week when we talked about centers with Sidney Crosby. You can't be when these guys are the best of the best. You can't count them out. I mean, until they show you they're completely washed, like you got to keep betting on those guys.
Definitely. We also have Matthew Knies here in the tier 4. And mainly, this may be an argumentative point. Like, hey, Toast, he's really only done this for a season, and he's still only 22 years old. More reason for me to actually go ahead and put him in tier 4 and actually get him, especially if you're in a keeper league or a dynasty league, or you're even in a redraft, because when you're actually playing with guys like John Tavares, you're playing with Austin Matthews. They do lose Mitch Marner, right? But you got a great offensive team there. He gets 58 points in 78 games last year. Only 152 shots on goal, so the guy's only averaging just over 2 shots a game. You'd like to see that number come up, but I think with the absence of Marner, Marner wasn't a high-volume shooter. You got to think Knies is going to get over 200 shots on goal. You're going to see that number go up. He's going to be over 200. Here's what I love about Knies. Back-to-back years, he's played close to 80 games here to start off his career. 169 hits and then 182 hits as well. Again, you're looking for guys that's going to fill out the score sheets that are actually on line 1 and are on great offensive teams. He checks all those boxes, and he checks the box where he's only 22 years old. He just signed a great contract to a bridge deal. So it's a 6-year, somewhere in the neighborhood of like $8 million a year. That's going to look really, really good here in a couple of years. And when he gets done with that deal, he's still only going to be 28 years old. So you need to get some Matthew Knies and all of those situations, the factor that I was mentioned. That's why he climbs up in a tier 4 over some other guys. Doesn't mean he's going to be so much better this season potentially, but he's got all of that going for him, and that just makes him for me a tier 4 player.
Yeah, Toast. I'm always jumping on The Avs guys, I mean, they're out there scoring. There's a bunch of talent around them. So I think now is the time to buy him because I think he's, like you said, I think he's just going to go up in the next couple of years. So if you're in any kind of dynasty league or anything, I think now is the time to get on Nice because I think the price tag is just going to raise up the next couple seasons. So you might not get full value this year, but I think in the future you're going to be glad you did it.
Yeah, for sure, JT. And this last guy in tier 4s, I'll be honest with you, he's only there because of reputation alone, and he's a great hockey player. But his situation worries everybody right there in New York, right? So Artemi Panarin actually being there in tier 4. Panarin is an assist machine. Well, I've said that in the past, but guess what he's actually done in the last couple of years? He's done nothing to score. I mean, he's putting up 40-some goals a year, and I'm like, that's never been Panarin's deal. He's always been a high 20s, low 30s type of guy, and he'll actually put like a 70 assists up, like that's his thing. Now he's become that complete player where he's actually scoring 42, 43 goals a season. He's putting up another 67 to 70 assists right now for 110 points. But he is awesome. You never quite know how old he is, right? I mean, so he came over from Russia back there, I think, and just tore it up with the Blackhawks there. And it was 2017, 2018, those years right there was this gold with Patrick Kane. Man, they did some great things together. But you really don't know exactly how old he is, but it hasn't really made a difference. But he just doesn't hit or block. He doesn't hit or block, and he's never been an unbelievably high volume shooter until the last couple of seasons. So if he can stay as a high volume shooter and actually still keep close to that 40 goal plateau, then he's going to be good in any format. And I think that's actually what brings him up to tier 4 because he's actually done it time and time and again.
Yeah, Toast, he's a guy I like a lot more in just points leagues where it's like you don't get much for anything but points. He's the guy I like. Obviously, like you said, Bangers League, he falls for me because there's other guys can kind of score around him but can give you those other categories, those other things to kind of pile up points night after night. But yeah, I think the big question mark is what is going on with they went from looked like a heap, a team that was going to be in the mix to win a Stanley Cup, to everything kind of seemed like it fell apart. And they're like, okay, we might just start moving a bunch of guys. So I think that the team, nobody knowing what's going on with the team is really what might drop him in some drafts just because people are nervous what's happening there. But like you said, he's really turned himself into more of a scorer. And, he was pretty much an assist guy for a long time, like you said. But he's really turned it up here the last couple seasons.
Yeah. And him and JT Miller and Vincent Trocheck, they're all the old guys, right? 32, 33 years old. And you also have a Mika Zibanejad. It's also 32, 33 years old. So they hitched their wagon to a bunch of old guys. They got an old core there. But then you're looking for Lafreniere to actually take that next step, and Kako, your guy, he actually went over to Seattle last year in a trade. So New York kind of created their own problems in their front office last year by actually really floating around the idea and actually to leak out regarding wanting to shop some guys. And then that really kind of blew up in their face. And then basically the locker room, when they did that, I remember they were 12-4 early on and looking great, man, because I think they were the defending President's Cup. They had won the previous President Cup as best regular season record the year before. And they come right back out of the gate and actually won 12 out of their 16. And then all this starts to leak. And as soon as that did, man, it just melted in that locker room. And they lost a team. And there was no actually coming back. So they ship off their captain over to Anaheim. And then basically they do get JT Miller in a trade from Vancouver. So they have actually done some stuff, but you just don't really know what to expect with them. Panarin's gonna have to shoot the puck, and he's have to shoot the puck a ton and keep doing what he's doing if they actually want to be successful.
Yep, let's move on to tier 5 now. We got a couple guys in this category. We're thinking, probably round 4 is where we're a lot of these. The guy that off to a slow start, but started to turn around a little bit. Timo Meier for the Devils, left wing, right wing eligible. Initially, we loved the move to New Jersey, and then he just didn't find his footing. What do you think about Meier now going in another year here in New Jersey?
Yeah, he finally found the footing, and it took a bit. That first year was like rough, man. What you love about Meyer is the fact that he's left wing, right wing eligible, and last year, you got 53 points in 80 games. Doesn't sound like, that's not all that great. 26 goals, 27 assists, and you're actually going to tier him as 5 toast. Like, really? But here's what I like about him. Last year, he shot 239 times. Back when he was actually with San Jose, he shot a bunch. I mean, he was a shooter, man. He shot the puck. So he started to look a little bit more like himself, actually, with his confidence, shooting the puck and actually shooting it often, like he did in San Jose. He only shot 10.9% last year. And with this team, New Jersey, with all the talent they actually have on that team, he's going to do much better than that. And it'll get you 141 hits last year, 65 blocks. I'm predicting right now, Meyer, probably going to, let's say he skates another 80 games, somewhere around there. He's going to be a 30-30 guy for 60 points. He may even be up there, creeping up there to 33, 34 goals. He's probably going to shoot somewhere in the neighborhood of 13, 14%. And he'll probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 hits. So in a bangers league, he's great. But even if it's not a bangers league, he's left ring, right ring eligible, right? And he can actually do a little bit of everything. He's going to be a little bit better. They're too good of a team. So that's why you find Meyer in tier 5. Really, really like Meyer.
Next guy in this tier list, and Aaron Tometich is not here to go ballistic because he was really upset with him on this pick in our Dynasty last year, the way he started off. He ended up finishing it off all right, but Jason Robertson from Dallas, slow start to the season last year, but still a lot of talent on a pretty talented team. What do we think about Robertson?
Yeah, so JT, we talked about the greatest UFA class that's ever coming in here, man. He'll be another one. So this is his UFA or this is his contract season coming up here as well. I mean, he would be the 4th big dog on there. Again, another guy linked to my Blackhawks right here, but then again, everybody's linked to the Hawks. They got everybody wants to be on their team, JT. So, but he's gonna get paid. 26 years old. It has been a little disappointing. And when I say a little bit disappointing, I really think you're looking at a couple of seasons ago when he had a 109-point season in 22-23. And since then, he hasn't been bad. He's been a point-per-game player. Last year was 80 points in 82 games. Previous year, 80 points in 82 games. Then you had the 109-point season. Then 80 points in 74 games. He's a point-per-game player. He always shoots the puck over 200 times. He's not bad in the hit block category. He'll get you maybe 60 of each every year. Shoots at a reasonable precision. They got a really good power play. So this is a guy where I think Robertson, he could argumentatively actually be in tier 3, right? Because of all the people he actually has around him to play and what he's actually done. I'm not really sure why everybody craps on this guy so much. He's left wing eligible only. And he did, from a fantasy perspective, had the weakest year of his career. But he ended up with 35 goals and 45 assists. What's there to cry about, man? He's a point-per-game player. He's a guy you can probably get somewhere in the late 3rd, and you're looking at maybe early 4th, but probably late 3rd. So you're looking around pick 35, 36, 37, all the way to 40. That's great value for a guy like this. I would actually be – if you like your first 2 picks and you actually need a left wing, or if you go center and right wing, you need a left wing, you're sitting there at pick 27, 28, and you want to grab Robertson, don't hesitate. Go ahead and get him.
I agree with you. If there are people in your league who think, oh, he's not been as good lately, and they're down on him, jump all over him, dude. He's still a stud. Dallas is still really good. I like him. That's a great pick if you can get him in that 3rd, 4th round. Next guy on the list we got is Matt Boldy, Minnesota, another left wing, right wing guy. We talked about Kaprizov earlier. What about Matt Boldy here?
He's dual eligible there with the wings, right? But what you just love about Boldy is the fact that obviously his age. I'm looking right now. Boldy is 24 years old, but you just expect him right now to take the next step. He's been at 65 points, 69 points, and then 73 points, 271 shots on goal last year. You got Kaprizov, you got Eriksson Ek with you there as well. and Boldy makes up the trio, and Minnesota the great players, and he's gonna be a great one. Hits, blocks, fine, whatever. 10 game-winning goals last year from a guy. But here's why my philosophy is, JT, when you guys are actually drafting, if you have youth on your side, you actually have line mates on your side, and you shoot the puck, that's what your bread and butter is, man. And that's what he does. And you can't beat that. 271 shots on goal. And 2 years ago, as a 22-year-old, 255 shots on goal. He shoots a ton, and he's been a power play machine so far in his career here as well. So right now he's actually sitting at close to 85 power play points and 285 games. That percentage there of about 20% is really, really good. So especially if you had categories leagues, right, where you're getting game-winning goals and power play points, and you got hits and you got shots on goal, he's a category league. He's great in cats. So Boldy, and he could be arguably rare. He could also be a guy tier 3. I mean, he's that good. So great value. You're probably going to get him somewhere around a neighborhood of 40th overall.
Yeah, this tier 6, I think, is like right on top of this tier 5. You guys could all be right there in that mix as well. A guy me and you both like a lot, Clayton Keller from Utah. We finally have a name, not just the hockey club. We have the Mammoth. Mm-hmm. So what do you think about Clayton Keller? It seems like he's kind of the future of this team that they want to. Man, what do you think?
I love Clayton Keller. Clayton Keller is a points machine, an absolute points machine. We'll get you nothing in peripherals, nothing. Hits, blocks, none of that, nothing. 37 power play points last year. And I'm telling you, Utah's going to be better. They're going to be better than what they were last year. Shoots the puck, 218 shots on goal last year. He's been over 200 3 years in a row. 90 points last year, career high. 30 goals, 60 assists. That's only going to get better because of the people he actually has around him. You got Logan Cooley. You got Dylan Gunther. There's a young, up-and-coming team, kind of like Montreal. And, man, if they were the Yeti, it would be the best, right? We all know that. We've actually said that. But that's a great sports town. You know that, JT, actually with, Salt Lake City, how they've actually done with the Jazz for so many years. Lucky enough to actually get this hockey club here. But I think Clayton Keller, his best hockey is ahead of him, and he's 27 years old. This is a guy for me. What are we in, JT? Tier 6? I'm personally, I put him in tier 6 because I like all those guys. I'm just fine if he were to actually land me amongst those tier 4 guys. And I would actually take Clayton Keller in a top 35. That's me. If he was sitting around there in 35, I wouldn't hesitate to actually take Clayton Keller and be my starting, my top line left wing in any format. I'd be very, very happy to have him. Plus number 9. Number 9 is I like that number,
Yeah, I'm a big fan of 9 as well. Alex DeBrinket's next on the list, my Red Wing, another former Blackhawk. This team, we've talked about it a little bit. They finally started a offense. They were just a team that get together, and they were a great, great power play unit last year. They're in the league, and so it feels like they're ready to finally flourish a little bit offensively after really kind of being stagnant, it felt like, for fantasy purposes the last couple of years.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? I was just looking here, JT. He's played 82 games 4 years in a row. How about that for productivity? You'd like to see the shooting percentage up a little bit. So last year he shot 16%, which was actually just fine. But the previous year, 11.4. The previous year before that, 10.3. After getting around 15 to 20 the years before in Chicago as well. That's where he shot very, very high. They had a guy like Kane actually feeding the puck. And, man, he's so good on that left dot there. He's just so good. He's such a quick snipe. So you got to love the fact that, again, what's the common theme with all of these guys in a tier? They shoot the puck. And, again, that's why I have them tiered this way, is because they shoot the puck. And 244 last year, 237 year before that, 263, 270. He's done nothing but shoot. And when he's got to Detroit, they're looking at him as our number 1 shooting option. So great line mate, and Dylan Larkin. Every once in a while they'll bring up Kane, and actually they'll actually play together. But usually they kind of split them up all in the top 6, but they're all in the same power play as well. and I expect Patrick Kane to be better. He was just coming back from that hip procedure last year. He signs another contract there with the Detroit Red Wings. I believe that Kane is going to surprise some people. It wouldn't shock me at all if he was actually 65 to 70 points this upcoming season. And if that ends up happening, we know Larkin can actually play. I think Brink will actually have his best season yet. Another reason why he's actually in tier 6 here. And again, a guy you could actually steal. He hasn't done much hitting and blocking since he's actually got to Detroit. But who knows? Maybe they don't need him to actually do that right now. We knew he was going to hit when he was in Ottawa. So he did a lot of that because that's all they do is just beat the shit out of people. But Alex DeBrincat, everybody.
Yeah, like that. Another Colorado Avalanche guy, this team just keeps adding new guys, adding in, move some guys. But we got a hole there in Colorado with Ratnan now gone. Who else do you like here from the Avs?
Yeah, so Valery Nichushkin, the issue with Nichushkin is can't he not score? He's never on the ice. But he's never on the ice. It's either injury or it's been player assistance program. So, and we're not really sure exactly what that is. I'm sure it's maybe publicized out there somewhere. But the guy last year, 34 points in 43 games. Before that, 53 and 54. The year before that, 47 and 53. The year before that, 52 and 62. His career high in games played is 79 all the way back in 2015-16 when he still didn't really have his footing underneath him. He plays about 60 games a season. And I don't really see that would actually change. The only reason he's actually in this tier is because he's so unbelievably talented. And he's actually had tied to guys like McKinnon and Landeskog. And they got and McCarr on the power play there as well. The Nichushkin's going to have great line mates, great deployment. And when he's on the ice, he is really, really good. He'll get some hits there as well. So you're taking a chance with Nichushkin. I would say if you feel in drafts like you nailed your first 5 picks, I mean, you're like, holy shit, I am just locked and loaded. I now need to start just kind of going for the jugular. You take Nichushkin late round 5, early round 6, especially if you're on that churn there. And then if he's like your 6th player off the board you got on your roster and you feel great about the first 5, man, watch out because he's got point per game all over him. You can do that.
This is our last tier before we will throw together honorable mention. This is our tier 7. This guy's kind of going around 6 to 8, right in that range here. Kind of the next guys in the group when you're trying to build your team. Who do you like here in tiers? For the left wings.
Yeah, JT, there's 5 of them. I'm not going to talk about each one of these guys individually, but we'll just kind of mention them in a list. I may just mention a couple of them. You tell me who you actually like in this list as well if you're drafting in tier 7. But these are guys that are going to go around round 6 to round 8. So you're looking somewhere in the neighborhood of pick number 65 to 90, somewhere in the neighborhood there overall. But you got Rickard Rakell in Pittsburgh, Tomas Hertl for Vegas, the left wing and center eligible. Carter Verhaeghe, Florida. Brandon Hagel, Tampa Bay Lightning. We talked about how lethal they are. And Pavel Doriev for Vegas as well. The up-and-comer, man. Left wing, right wing. So if you want the opinion on like Toast, like what's the best value pick? Who could I actually get that's going to slip the furthest? And I'm still actually going to be able to get really, really good production, meaning like these could be arguably your top left wing or at least your second line left wing on your team. All right. So Rickard Rakell, somebody's got to score in Pittsburgh besides Sidney Crosby, right? And Rakell proved that last year. Monster season last year. I think he was somewhere in the neighborhood like 37 goals, somewhere around there. I mean, and he went undrafted at some drafts. I mean, if not, like he was in 15th round. I mean, it was late. Great value again because Pittsburgh hasn't done anything. They got Brian Rust. Rust has actually always been maybe a little injury prone. Sid Crosby, we know how great he is. Rakell's going to be in a similar situation as last year where they're going to lean on him, rely on him. I like it again. I do because they don't have anybody else to really actually pick up the heavy lifting. And then Pavel, man. So Pavel D from Vegas. What if he ends up getting line 1 with Eichel and Marner. I mean,
would be pretty interesting to see how that breaks out with Marner there too. Yeah, one of you could end up being fantastic value if they get on that line.
yeah, and what he did last year, and I let me break up the stats here in front of me, JT, on what he did last year. I got him close by here. Let's take a look and see it real quick. Here he is. Yeah.
While you're looking that up, Hagel's a guy I like just because Tampa Bay, he's a guy in there. He's not in that top line. That top line is super heavy. I think sometimes people forget about the guys behind them, but I think Hagel's a nice spot here. I really like the guys here. If you miss out on some of these guys earlier, and you ended up going defense or you went center, right wing, and you kind of waited on left wing, I really like this tier 7 group. I think all these guys could be, like you said, your first left winger or maybe the second guy on your unit.
Yeah. So, and before we get the Dory up real quick, that may be your strategy, right? You may say, hey, I understand that left wing and right wing can be a little bit thin or whatever, but this may be where you're like, let's say you're picking second, all right? And you go out and you get McKinnon. Say you get McKinnon or McDavid. You're lucky enough to get McDavid. These people that are stupid, let him go, come on. And McKinnon. And then you're like, all right, I got a center. And you're thinking, I need a left wing. I need a left wing actually come back, or I need a right wing, whatever. You may go ahead and let's say you get it. Let's say you get a right wing, but let's say you don't. Let's say you go ahead and say, I'm going to get a Quinn Hughes, right? Hughes maybe a pick around 17, somewhere around there, and you get a top line defenseman. Then you actually come back with a right wing. You might find yourself in a position where you've already got 2 centers on your thing, a left or a right wing on your team, a defenseman on your team, and you're sitting there in round 5 and you're like, I haven't got a left wing yet. That's where all these tier 7 guys are great. Like you could actually get a couple of them right in a row and still feel really, really good. So you got to circle those guys and where their ADP's at. And you're like, man, their situation's good. I really like specifically their line mates, where they're at, their deployment. And Dorfiev, he actually has great deployment. 24 years old, he had 35 goals last year as a 23-year-old. I mean, and he's not a household name yet, and he's eligible on the left and the right as well. Last year, 35 goals, only 17 assists, man. Check this out, JT. 254 shots on goal in 82 games. All he does is shoot. That's it.
That's what you want. That's you want. You got to put the puck on the net, right?
You're thinking, well, a guy, all he does is shoot. I mean, all he does is shoot. He don't get hits. He don't get blocks. He don't get assists. He doesn't. I mean, that's all he does. You're thinking, he's probably shooting 17, 18%, because he basically just shoot 13.8, right at his career average. So that tells you that's what you're going to expect again, right? 254 shots on goal. He's probably going to do that again. He's probably going to be in the neighborhood of 35 again. And hey, in a straight scoring league and a catch league too, because you're like, I just need a goal scorer. This is a guy that gets shots on goal and goal scoring. I'll deal with all the hits and blocks later on. He's got power play points as well. So if you, JT, in our Dynasty Cat League, well, I'd love to have him. He'd be great. So
absolutely, that'd be phenomenal. To kind of finish out the show here, as we're coming up on the hour, honorable mentions on your list: Shinekikov, Ehlers, Geeky, Jenner, Holloway, Landeskog. Well, been sitting on our IR for a couple of years. Who kind of jumps out to you here in this honorable mention? Guys that you're probably seeing going to go somewhere between 6 and 10 as we finish up here on left wings.
Yeah, Svechnikov and Ehlers are going to go higher than they probably should. And it's not because they're not good players, JT. It's just a product of the system in Carolina. They got 3 to 4 really, really good players on that team. Seth Jarvis is another one as well. But they just share the puck so much, and they share the scoring so much. It's hard from a fantasy perspective to really reach for them, but they're household names. So somebody's going to reach for them and actually draft them as if they're tier 4 and tier 5 players. Let them go. Let somebody else actually take them. And I'd rather actually have a Morgan Geekie on a Boston team that's actually got to find scoring. And he actually did it last year and helping Pasta there. You got Marshawn, it's actually gone right now. And then Boone Jenner, man, you know how much I love Columbus. Boone Jenner was great in Columbus last year when he was actually healthy. He was in there. I think he had a lower body injury. I think he only played him like maybe 55 to 60 games, but when he was there, he was awesome. Really, really good. So Boone Jenner is another good one. Dylan Holloway, Gabe Landeskog, but I like Morgan Geekie and Jenner. If you can let them fall, you might be able to get them around pick 100, 110. And if you've already kind of rounded out your top 6, if he's sitting there at pick 80, 85, don't hesitate to take these guys. But those are my honorable mentions I'd really like.
Fantastic work there, Toast. We'll have Aaron back next week. Make sure you check us out here on Fantasy and Frames Around the Ice podcast every Tuesday night, 9:30 Eastern Time, 8:30 Central, as we kind of lead you in to the fantasy hockey season. That's going to do it for us here, talking left. We appreciate everybody for joining us. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Twitter, the X, at Toast Clark, at JT Orange. Follow us. We'll follow you back. We'll chat you up, talk to you about hockey. Been a good one. Toast, thanks for fighting through the early difficulty with the internet issues we were having, but we got the show in. We'll see you guys all next time. Much. That's out on Around the Ice.